Anjali is an integrated sexuality coach, and we are going to talk about Tantra massage today because we have a workshop coming up on the 13th, 14th, 15th of May. So just a background to Anjal, she's been practicing for the past 5 years, and she has learned from teachers who are masters in Tantra, Tao, and Shamanism. So before we get into the Tantra, can you explain a little bit what is integrated sexuality?
So I started integrated sexuality because I wanted all the women on planet Earth to kind of get in touch with their sexuality. And I felt there was a huge disconnect with intimacy, especially with women. And I talk about myself. I'm amongst those women, I think 7 years ago when I started on this journey.
Yeah, I
And
think we're all in the same journey. So every time we use the word Tantra, we get a lot of comments and saying that no, Tantra is this like pure thing, you know, you're associating it with sex, like why are you doing that? Then there is like, people talk about the American Tantra school, then they talk about like, it's not really original, and there's a lot of confusion. So just broadly, like what is Tantra according to you?
well, you're right, you're correct. Tantra has been falsified as an erotic practice. It is not. It is actually it is a system of thought and a body of practice that requires the practitioners to be to have very strict discipline and awareness of interconnected with everything else around them. And all the practices of Tantra are actually towards a union with the divine self. So, as I mentioned, there is breath, movement, and sound. So, you can say yogas, mantras, kriyas. They all are towards a more disciplined and contemplative way of life. And what it says is in Tantra that you can harness your sexual energy to have to have a unification with your divine self. And that aspect, I think, is blown out of proportion, and people try to only see that aspect and filter out rest of the things. So you can say that it's a way of having an expanded state of bliss all throughout your body, and channeling that sexual energy um, through your breath and sound, through other parts of your body that you're not aware of. And as a result of that, you'll have much more deeper intimacy and an expanded state of bliss. Yeah.
Okay, and the breath work is like the breathing is through the nose and out with the mouth, or is it like in and out from the mouth?
There can be various aspects of breathing. One is a circular breathing where the inhale and the exhale, there is no gap. There's no gap. Then there is a short breath, which is so be learning is various strokes that are used to enliven your body, the various meridians, neurons of the body. Through by demonstrating on objects, we will show how to enlevel the various aspect of the genitalia, both lingam and yoni, so that you can actually push the energy throughout the body and have a much deeper experience.
So the strokes are done with the hands, is it?
With the hands, yeah.
Okay.
With the hands, so and one actually encourages the recipient to use the breath work to push the energy throughout their body.
Breath and sound is what is gonna, I'm just like summarizing this for myself. Like touch, breath, and sound, like take the energy that you build in your pelvic region and kind of spread it across the body.
Yeah. And it's important. Yeah. And it's also one of the aspects for the Tantra massage is to understand genital mapping, because the anatomy of a female genitalia, a yoni, is very different from a male genitalia, which is a lingam. And of course, it's very easy for the blood to flow down into a lingam or a penis uh, versus a vulva um, or a yoni. What happens is there's a disconnect um, with touch because our sexual script is I think across the world
Yeah.
that sex is shamed, judged, and sexual pleasure is which is the most natural I think instinct, which is the natural way of being. We all came out of sex, but it's shamed and judged to the point that it's suppressed. It's very important to address that through genital mapping to understand what your anatomy is, to understand various aspects of your reproductive organs.
This workshop that you're gonna run, it's timed to 2.5, 3 hours, right? The
Yeah.
Tantra
Hmm.
one. So in
Hmm.
the Tantra workshop, there'll be a section where you explain
Yeah.
genitalia mapping.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
How
it
long is
would be
that section? Like how long do you spend like explaining a vulva, or how long do you spend explaining a lingam?
10 to 20 minutes. I would give flashcards to people to understand. And then I would really encourage them to go back home and, uh, stand in front of their mirror and actually do a proper gazing of their lingam and their yoni. And also touch them for the aspect of where does the touch feels most pleasurable? Does it have a knot? Does it have, because all this has to be, integrated. This learning cannot be just in theory, unless and until you know, oh, this feels painful or this feels a bit numb. Explore. I would say I would invite them to explore. Okay, why does it feel that way?
Mm.
And be curious about it. Just it's like having a new set of eyes. Like when you see something that you're not aware of, you're curious about it. So
Yeah.
you would use all your faculties of eye, of sight, touch, sound to kind of figure that aspect. For me, Tantra massage, it's a simple act of receiving because at any given point, there is a one active receiver and an
Mm.
active giver. And there is it is what tantra. Before we start what tantra massages, I would like to highlight what it is not.
Mm.
It is not a happy ending massage. That's a myth. And then it is certainly not an intercourse. It's um, it's the receiver paying attention to what sorry, it's the giver paying attention to what is directly in front of them. So we consider a yoni and a lingam as gateways, as sacred gateways to expanded consciousness. And the way, uh, imagine you have something so sacred in front of you. How would you treat it? How would you take care of it? It's through with that intent that you wish to explore with all your faculties um, uh, the sacred gateway to consciousness. I mean,
It
it's
sounds so cool. I want it.
in the tantric massage, to have a more pleasurable experiences. You'll be taught different strokes to kind of expand that pleasure to other parts of the body. And, I think the goal is to connect to the unlimited pleasure capacity that uh, you as an individual have. And the way when you connect with that understanding, um, you kind of drop that dependency of having pleasure or making someone else responsible for your own pleasure. Because men
Yeah.
sadly have this undue pressure of performance, of always being hard, of always sort of they have to man up. But it's the most beautiful experience to see a man just release and drop that anxiety of being into the masculine always and not be receptive. Giving a prostate massage to your partner, or when you're giving a G-spot massage to your partner, there have been times when they've been emotionally welled up, and it's not always that Your lingam will always have the blood flow and it will always be erect. It will be flaccid. It will drop. And the allowance for a person to be, there's liberation, there is acceptance, and there is comfort in that. And
genitalia touch.
no, so we
When you
start with, yeah, because we have to open up your meridians. So there will be strokes to kind of ease, uh, and we go from always bottom to the top, from bottom to top, not top to bottom, because the
right,
energy has to come from there.
right,
And we start from the recipient side, which is your female, which is your left, and we go on the right. There is conscious breathing, there is genital mapping, and then there is both strokes for opening up the body, and then strokes for opening up the genitalia, which will be demonstrated on objects, followed by each partner giving each other massages for 45 minutes each. Yeah.
okay,
This workshop is especially for people who have difficulty receiving touch, receiving a lot of attention. Um, this workshop is for someone who wants to build a relationship with their own sexuality, who wants to explore the pleasure capacity that they have in their own body. Usually, my clients, especially women, um, were very had difficulty experiencing orgasm just by themselves because they were not taught how to. So when you do genital mapping and then when you're exploring touch in your genitalia and using a conscious breath to expand that pleasure, um, uh, you overcome the genital hole, the numbness that one may feel in the genitalia. So anyone who experiencing certain amount of numbness, or anyone who is, uh, has is missing a connection with pleasure in different parts of their body, then and yeah, I mean, it could also be somewhat with someone who's curious and just wants to have deep intimacy with their partners. It's a wide spectrum of people. I would
okay.
say it's an invitation to come with a curious mind, uh, and also just have fun, just play, just explore your pleasure capacity.
Shop is gonna be in Mumbai at a very
Mhm.
secret location. Thank you, Anchal. If anyone wants to inquire, there's still some spots. So please drop a DM to me or Anchal. What's your Instagram handle?
It's the integrated sexuality.
Integrated sexuality. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
lovely
Ivy.
Sunday.
You too. Thank you for
Bye.
tuning in on a Sunday. Bye.
Bye. Bye.